Hello, hello, Feliz Navidad, and happy holidays. I hope everybody is doing well. We're here for our midweek alchemy message. This is where we take a look at unpacking the work and our approach to the soul lessons of the week. So from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, we've got the Blue Temple, followed by Resin, followed by Mortification. Underneath the Blue Temple, we've got Seven of Swords. I'm sorry, Seven of Wands. I misspoke. Seven of Wands. Underneath Resin, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Back at it. And under Mortification, we've got Seven of Cups. Ooh, let's get into it. So the Blue Temple represents the realm of imagination and inner vision. It calls to mind, rather than that lower body creative chakra, the sacral chakra, we're thinking more of the inner vision and inner imagination of the third eye chakra. I feel like there's like two imaginal chakras that really get your imagination flowing, and one is the sacral chakra, the other is the third eye. The third eye can be very prophetic. It can have insight and understanding in a futuristic sense, I feel like. Whereas maybe the sacral chakra gives you creativity and insight into your inner workings and your, like, what drives you and what motivates you and things connected with the subconscious. I feel like the third eye connects us to like the more ethereal realms, things like prophecy and maybe visions of the future, visions of things that we dream up in our imagination, insight and understanding into the conceptual realm, being able to visualize and understand a concept. This is just coming to me now, so I don't know if this is officially the word on the difference between the third eye imagination and the sacral chakra imagination, but that seems to be intuitively what they're connected with, so we're just gonna go with it. So we have the temple here, the Blue Temple. This is about going inward and getting intrinsic and connecting with our imagination. And like we were saying, prophecy and insight. Prophecy is not only about projecting your consciousness out and predicting the future. A good chunk of prophecy has to do with having a deep understanding of the inner workings and meaning of like scripture and holy texts and reading into it and understanding like the layers of interpretation and meaning. But it also has to do with understanding the context and relation of the things that are happening in your life and how they're connected with your soul's awakening and your spiritual process and practice. So connected with this is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a card that describes going into your reserves of strength and inner strengths and deepest like grit, I guess you'd say, and finding what it takes to overcome your current challenges. You're like breaking patterns, right? This is like, okay, if you've had a pattern that's plagued you for a really long time, or a habit or an addiction, or like say your attachment styles, an anxious attachment. So it's like you've been trying to overcome this anxious attachment, or you've been trying to break out of like codependent dynamics. And so this Seven of Swords is an encouragement that like you have what it takes. You have the courage of your convictions. You can handle your situation. You've got what it takes to break free out of your current situation. The character here is, he's got all of the strong man is like breaking out of his cell, of his bindings, of this cage. He's standing with a veil behind him and it's open, right? This red curtain is beginning to reveal the light and the clarity in the sky coming through. And he's breaking through these bars that have kept him locked in or trapped, right? Because he's got this clarity coming in and this like new light, and things are lightening up, and the veil, what was drawn close and like closed and prevented him from understanding, you know, what were his challenges about, what is the meaning of the things that he's gone through in life and the circumstances he's found himself in. And so now it's like he's gleaming this revelation. Oh, I understand now what it's all been for. And in this moment, he's also tapping into his inner resources and his inner strength, and he's breaking through his self-perceived limitations, moving beyond his current understanding. The tattoos on him represent his life's experiences and the mark that they've left on him, and the way that we need to preserve our experiences and what they've taught us, and the importance of that, and the way that he's keeping them close and valuing them. And it's like part of his skin, part of his cloak. So it's like they've been ingrained in his understanding and in his consciousness. But ultimately, they've revealed love through him and taught him how to love, how to be compassionate, how to be forgiving and merciful, but also strong and and capable and interdependent. So it's like these two cards together right now in this moment where we're coming out of the karmic cycle of Pluto's transit through Capricorn, 16 years, 2008 till the present, up until like early November. We are reflecting on our life's experiences and what they've taught us and what we've gleaned from them. And I think that part of our imagination is helping us with that, because it's like we're thinking about things in a new way. We're being able to see things in a new way. And that prophetic notion is coming over us. Oh, I see how it's all been connected. And I see, you know, maybe why I went through those things, why they were valuable for me specifically to experience them, because of my specific mission and purpose and goals. So strength that comes from your experiences, and then strength to overcome your current station and stature, getting out of your current level and pushing through into the next, which leads us right into resin. Resin is a material that we can use to preserve something, but it can also lock something up and keep it suspended in time. There is really positive aspects of resin, and there are pitfalls of the resin element here. In a positive way, this resin is like looking back at our experiences. It's like the tattoos. We are preserving this wisdom and remembering all that we went through to gain and glean what we have, and be able to become the person that we are with the experience that we have, and the resources and the know-how and the wisdom and the heart and the spirit and the soul that we have now because of those things. So we are thinking back and reflecting, and we're like understanding the lessons even more deeply than we ever have. And we're really solidifying that in so that we don't forget, everything that it took to get us to this place. So we don't fall back and go into backsliding, into old habits and old consciousness and old learned behaviors and defense mechanisms, right? We're breaking free of those. We're going into the next level, but it's going to take practice because it's going to be difficult to go against the memory, the muscle memory of the flesh, to just kind of go back into that comfortable default setting into the old familiar patterns. So we are moving forward, but I described it in either this reading or the last, that it's not just going to be automatic. It's going to be sort of like a run and jump onto the next timeline. Like, think of a ferry boat that's pulling away from the pier, and the person like runs down the dock and they like jump onto the boat and they make it just in the nick of time. So the danger of resin, when we think about a resin paperweight, I have one. Hold on. I like to make these, so I think that this is a really cool description in the card. So, you find something interesting and you want to hold on to it. You want to preserve it. You don't want to change anything about it. I found this spider one summer at the bottom of my galvanized steel bucket. I think it had some potion water left in the bottom in kind of a residue. And I looked in the bottom of the bucket one day, and I noticed that this spider had been drowned, and then it had been dried, and the water had evaporated away, and it had left it in such a way that it left these like hurricane legs. And I just loved it so much. So I saved this spider, and this was one of the first resin molds that I made. I found this leaf bug that had been eaten away by ants, and it basically was just the very little of the exoskeleton with some of the wings left and like the upper frontal part of the body. How cool is that? So be careful. You or someone or people around you can feel the change and the shift happening, and they can see you growing, and they can see you up leveling. And people may want to hold things on to the way that they were. They don't want to see change. They don't want to see people grow. It scares them. They think that they're going to be left behind. And this can be you as well. It's like, you're like, I don't want to leave myself behind, the old me. I don't want to leave my old life behind. I don't want things to be different. I don't want the dynamics between people to be different. I just want things to be the same and familiar. And so we can fall into this well-meaning but very destructive tendency to want to hold on to the way things are. That keeps us trapped, and it keeps us bound. And so, where are my cards here? So we have the resin card with the Knight of Pentacles. And the thing is that this resin, in a way, it's like, in the positive sense, we want to embody this material's essence and preserve the wisdom that we've gained and preserve our memories, and so that we don't forget what we've been through and what we've come through to get where we are. Whilst at the same time, we have to allow ourselves to let go of this current moment and not hold it too precious that we can't move forward, right? We don't want to get stalled and stuck. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. And so the wanting to keep things the way that they are, not wanting to upset the apple cart, maybe you don't want to get the wrath of a spouse or a parent or a family member. And so you've just been sort of maintaining the status quo. But what that's done is it's held you back, and it slowed you down from aligning with your true self, with your authentic self, with your true purpose and true nature and true destiny. And so now it's about reconnecting with that and not letting anything hold us back from moving forward into that new chapter. We need to be very aware of it, and we need to keep moving forward. We don't want to go galloping forward. It's like we want to really maintain a slow and steady progress, not taking on too much, not biting off more than we can chew, just doing doable, maintainable, actionable, completable steps. And that, like, by completing each thing one at a time, you're going to get this sense of satisfaction and like excitement and momentum and inspiration to want to do the next thing. Whereas if we spread ourselves out and we're doing a little bit on a lot of things and not completing them, we get overwhelmed and stressed out. So, and we don't accomplish as much, we're not as prolific, and we're not as productive or efficient. So it's actually better, we're just deluding ourselves to think, okay, by taking on all this and trying to like, do this unreasonable amount, unimaginable amount of like workload, or trying to like give yourself so many things to like live up to every day. It's just like, do things that are manageable and doable so that you can feel good and accomplished. Keep moving forward. You can go slow, you can go steady, but just don't stop. Don't lose your momentum, right? Think about pushing a big boulder, right? You're not going to go fast. You can go slow and steady. But if you, and it's almost not even difficult if you're going slow and steady and you pick up like a pace, right? But if you let that slow down to the point of stopping, then you have to exert all that force again to get things moving. So try to maintain and protect the momentum that you have, but keep it steady, keep it manageable, keep it doable. In the meantime, while we're not rushing forward, we are taking advantage of this like quietness and darkness and the slower pace of winter to release and let go of how things have always been and how things were, and appreciate where it is, put it in the scrapbook, grieve and mourn where you need to, but allow things that need to decay. Allow things that need to be released and let go of within yourself, within the way you think about things, maybe within the way you interact with certain, people in your life, whatever it is, right? Get creative with it. Look into each area of your life, from mundane to like complex to like, abstract. What kinds of things are ready to be released and let go of? What is ready to decay so that material, that energy can act as like that sacrificial energy that can be then introduced or redirected into something else with a lot of intent. So it's like, think about when a stump begins to break down and decay, it attracts mushroom spores, or mushroom spores can like take root or whatever that they do, that they start feeding off of the decaying material, and that biodegradable material becomes something new, something of nutrients, right? It takes all the good stuff and it makes something new out of it, out of what was dying and depreciating and falling apart and debilitating and decomposing. All of those things that you think about that are coming apart and entropying, right? That are like turning to ash and to dust. Everything that's wanting to just break down and be released, let it go. Let it go so that it can become newness. That newness is going to start sparking our inner spirit and our inner sense of inspiration and motivation and our imagination. Because here we have, like, in the midst of this, this slowness in this winter, while things are dying, while things are decaying, while we're letting go, while we're letting the darkness and the quietness and the not as busyness do its work, do its magic to renew and reintegrate. We are also letting our imaginations explore and wander and play with possibilities and visions of what's to come, of what's possible, of what would light us up for our next adventure and our next chapter. You know, we have choices, we have options, and we're jumping into this new reality. You know, we're trying to embody like a sense of our authentic spirit more so than ever before. So it's like, what do we want? You know, what do we want this year? What kinds of things make us feel purposeful? What kinds of things excite us? You know, what kinds of things make us feel grounded and secure and nurtured and nourished? What gives us a deep, abiding peace and joy? You know, and it's building our connection with the Creator, with Source. Me and my nephew were talking about this at work tonight, but we were just like, yeah, it's so crazy that the more you're fulfilled and satisfied, like by nothing outside of yourself, but you can just be, like you can connect with God from within yourself. You don't think of it as being something outside of you. But when you can find a way to satisfy yourself and be satisfied in your own company and be happy with simplicity and fulfilled in small things and have that sense of security and connection in the Creator, in God, without thinking of God as something outside of you, but like that's something that is within you and around you and through you and all encompassing. So I don't need to go to a church and have a preacher tell me what to think or what to do or how to feel better, right? I can spend time with God and with Holy Spirit and with my own spirit being taught how and what's going to help me heal. Now, I love having spiritual leaders around me. I love like watching Kabbalah classes, going to church, going to temple, wherever. Like I love that kind of thing, but I've never been someone who needs that person to tell me what to think or what to believe. Like I've got it, you know, okay on my own, but I do want that mentor, right? That can guide me, that can open up my consciousness to new directions, right? You always have something to learn. It's like the paradox of being both at the same time. It's being the fool who knows nothing, who knows little, who's got so much to learn from their teachers, but also like you're not the fool that can be manipulated by the teacher, or you're not dependent on the teacher, right? You're not taking and needy. It's like you're good both ways, right? You see the value of both. And so neither owns you or controls you. So we're dreaming and we're thinking about what's to come. And we're kind of calling that in while we're getting excited and while the fire is, you know, getting relit within us and we're coming back to life. And we're tuning deep within and going inward into the blue temple, into our dreams, into our imagination. We are solidifying the wisdom of everything that we've been through, everything that we've learned, everything, all the flavor and dimension and depth that's given us. We're drawing from our inner strength to break free of patterns, limiting beliefs, self-sabotaging, self-defeating behaviors. We're breaking free from the things that have been holding us back. We're getting the courage of our convictions, and we've got the perseverance to get over the last final hump because we're so close. We're not letting ourselves get stuck. We're not slowing down. We're maintaining our momentum. We're going step by step by step. We're achieving something before we go on to the next thing. We're giving ourselves achievable, doable goals, and it's making us feel accomplished and victorious, giving us more momentum and more excitement and more inspiration. And we're allowing what is ready to be done and gone. We're just allowing it to shed. We're allowing those things to die away. And then we're allowing time and space for that decay to then transmute into something nutrient filled and nourishing and something of new value, new purpose. All right, you guys. We will be back tomorrow for our weekly romance oracle and tarot reading. I am hard at work on the 2025 prediction series, so stay tuned for more details. But that is well underway, so I'll be letting you guys know when I've got that finished and up and available. And until then, take care. Ciao. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to be notified of when I drop content. Like the videos, comment, share them. Anything that you do helps these messages get out to other people who need them. So you watching a video and taking an action on it actually makes a positive difference in someone else's life.